Hello and welcome. So glad you dropped by today. If you're returning, welcome back. If this is your first time, so glad you're here. I have 2 spring cards that I want to share with you, and I think it's time that we were able to just dream about warmer weather, at least here in Canada. So let's just get started. So this is the stamp set that we'll be using today, Flowering Rain Boots. And it just reminds me so much of spring with the tulips and just gardening with some rain boots and a flowering watering can. So and the sentiments are very nice. Live life in full bloom, rain or shine, I'm here for you. And every storm that comes also ends. Words of wisdom and encouragement. So here is what the first card looks like, and I know I've heard people talk about a belly band, but I didn't want to cover up anything, so I just used some ribbon that I tied around it, and when you open it up, out comes the watering can and the boots. So that's what we're going to be working on today. And the first thing that we need is our basic gray, which I realize you can't see very well on here, but I've scored it at 2 inches and 6 inches. So let's just fold that in and give it a good folding there. Good folding there. And to brighten it up, we'll be using some DSP that when I cut it out, you can use, there's so much design that you can use in it, but I wanted to pick up the rich razzleberry in this with a little bit of the Highland heather. So that is the first thing that we'll put on our card, and then you'll be able to see it. And I'm also using the colors that are on the back of this DSP, so we're using both sides of it. So there we can see it a little bit better now. So if you wanted to use the purples, it certainly would work very nicely as well. Okay, so just get rid of that glue, a little extra glue. Okay, so there's the front, and as you can see when I did it on this one, it's like every card will be different because of the way the DSP is done. So okay, so that's the inside of the outside of the card. And we'll do let's just do the gluing while we're into the gluing mode. So again, we're using this side with these lovely spring tulips. So I put them on the inside. And this size is just a little bit smaller. Okay, so that is what is on the inside of the card. And I have a piece that goes in here. So let's just get that in there. So this is all the gluing to brighten it up. And I'm picking up the rich razzleberry in all of these flowers. Okay, so this one, because we want it to be a like a fun fold card, we're only going to put our glue, and actually I'm using our tape that's double-sided tape here. As soon as I can find the end, there we go. So you do want it only on the and you turn it over the right side, but it's the left side for the card. And this will give it an extra hold. I just felt more comfortable with it being double-sided tape. So then just center that. Okay. Now, when I did my sample card, I used the brick and mortar die. And then, I mean, it looks okay when I did some, I put some ink on it, the gray ink, to pick up the gray part of the card. But when I did it the second time, and this is how you do it, you just put part of your paper in so that you just get part of the brick design and put it through your embossing machine. But so the second time I thought I would use just the white so that the pot will show up. Now you can decide which you prefer to use, but there, the pot does show up a little bit better. So let's just work on this pot. And I put dimensions under it so that you can easily slip the flowers underneath. So we're going to put 2 dimensions on our pot. And I love the detail on the pot with the shadowing. It makes you feel very creative when someone else has done all the work. Okay, so the stamp, here, let me just show you the stamps. And I can find my paper. So the stamps are very, very nice. And I used, it's, there, if you bring it up closer, you can see that it is Highland Heather that I've used. Sorry for the noise. Okay, so, or Gorgeous Grape, I used. So for the boots, I just stamped in Highland Heather. And again, the lovely shading that are in these stamps is really awesome. I quite liked it. And then I used, for the watering can, I used green shaded spruce. Let's see, we want to save paper. Again, the shading is so awesome. Okay, and then of course the dies, you just put the dies over them and put them through your machine. And there are the boot dies, the watering can dies, and the pot, and there's some flowers in here as well. So very nice. So I did cut those out ahead of time. So for this, for these flowers, which are going to be tulips, I found that the this one was just a little bit too big for the pot, so it'd probably be better in the ground. So I'm just going to slip that in there with some glue. And I put it off to the side just a tiny little bit, and then put a little dimension on this one. And then we have our flowers, tulips, and look at how lovely those are. So put these tulips on here, and then these two I will use dimensions, which is of course the opposite way that I did it on my sample, which just shows you the varieties that you can use. There really is no right and wrong way of doing your creativity. It's whatever you want. So there, I put those on dimensions so that they show up or pop up a little bit. And what I liked to do on my card was to take the gray, basic gray, and just do a little bit of shading, my own creativity, my own creative touch, just to pull it in. Now, I don't know if you like the plain white or if you really like the gray touch. Both looks amazing. Okay, so put a little bit of a border on there. Stick this to the front of the card, and we've got our front done. Now the fun is going to come in putting the, oh wait a second, before I do that, let's do the sentiment before I forget. And I took the rich raspberry, and I did the same thing with a sponge and just went around the sentiment, which and any color would have worked for that, for sure. And actually, I see I have double-sided tape on there. So let's just put that on underneath our flowers. If we can get that one up a little bit. Okay, so we finished the front of the card. The inside of the card, I cut two 1-inch wide pieces of basic gray, and they are both of these are scored at 1 inch, 2 inch, and 4. And I will leave all these dimensions underneath, so it's underneath of the description there, so you can find them. So this is what's going to open the card and have our things come up. So our watering can and boots. So I chose to put the boots on the top, which is actually, I suppose you could put it on this side. Look at that. Okay, let's step this up, because the watering can would make more sense to be at the top, but then it fills your boots. So I don't know, it doesn't really matter. So let me just show you how versatile this can be. We'll put it on the other side. So again, no right or wrong way to do this, and let's see if we can do this. But again, I think the double-sided tape is a little bit stronger. Maybe not so much with our glue, but you just don't want it to fall off, that's all. Okay, so we're going to put this on this side, and again, you just want to make sure that your watering can is going to not show through. So okay, that looks like a good spot for it. So we stick that on there. We stick 2 pieces of tape on the bottom. Okay, so the other thing is you want to make sure that it's going to fold. So instead of guessing, I did fold it so that you can make sure that it's going to fold properly for you. And look at that, perfect. So on goes our watering can. And again, I just want to make sure that it is going to fit on there and not stick out, not get bent. Look at that, perfect. So we'll do the other piece. So, you know, the measurements can be very versatile. You can make it higher, and sometimes it's just a matter of just playing with it to see what you like. So I've got them on both sides. So I'm going to do the same thing for this side. And I think what I'm going to do is put the boots up a little higher because we don't. Okay. Okay, so and then I'll peel that off, stick because I want to make sure there we go. I want to make sure that it folds, and it didn't quite fold. I just so you just have to play with it a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that. Just got a little tricky. Okay, and now I've lost my boots. Oh, there they are. This is how I do my gardening too. Where did I put this? Where is that? My goodness. Okay, so the boots can go right there. And there we go. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so before I finish totally, I need to put some rhinestones on. And I was very pleased with the way this card turned out. Very happy, very spring, put a smile on my face. So here we go. I put, so I closed the card so I could see where the best place is to put the rhinestones. Let's see, how many did I put on? 5 I put on because there's lots of, so 2 there. And remember the rule of, whoops, don't want that on my skin. There we go. So when you're done the card, because it does kind of stick up a little bit, which is fine for letting it stand, but to keep it folded, I used a 12 inches of this lovely metallic mesh ribbon, because it really does a nice job with the bow. and there's your card. And then when your recipient gets it, they just take that, undo it, and there is our card. So I hope you like that. I did. I had so much fun with this card. I did enjoy putting it together and creating it. So again, all the directions will be in the description below. So this is our second card, and it, as you can see, it is a square, which is 5 by 5. So when you're cutting your cardstock, 10 by 5. But what I like about doing square cards is that everything is the same, of course, on both sides. So the layering that I have is 4.5 by 4.5 and 4.5 by 4.5. So it makes it a lot simpler. But this card was fun to put together as well. So let me show you how I did that. And this is a lovely coastal cabana. Such a pretty color. Okay. Oh, I opened it off to the side, but you can open it up to make it a top fold as well. So let's do some layering here. So my 4.5 by 4.5 square is nicely centered. And I took 2 of these DSP, and I will, before I put those on though, so I can take a look, part of the dies is this really neat, not quite diamonds, but square that makes this lovely lattice. And I used double-sided tape because I didn't want to get glue all over my hands, which I do. So I just centered that. And see how nicely that sticks. And here is the other one with the double-sided tape on it. Now this one was 1 square too long, so you just let's give it a little haircut and cut it off. It's doesn't affect the look of it at all. So then I make sure you give it a little extra push to make sure that all the glue does stick on it. There we go. Doesn't that look neat? I really like that. Okay. Okay, so I stamped 3 of these pots, and one of them I used dimensions, so let's just get that one on the center. There we go. So I put that one on the center. And these other 2 pots I just glued on. So this is the cinnamon cider on cinnamon cider paper cardstock. So it's still, you can still see the shadowing, and it looks very nice. So what I did with these daisies was, it is daffodil Delight, but I put Mango Melody on the stamp that is right here. So then it kind of gives it a two-tone color as well. Yeah, I'll do another one. Sometimes on this mat it doesn't go as well. There we go, that's better. So you can see the flowers quite nicely. So there is a die to cut that out, and I've done that ahead of time. So I put dimensions on this one, and then these two, I wanted them to be in the background, so I just cut off one of the flowers for a I don't know, just make it look a little different. Oh, I want dimensions for that. So I put the dimensions on this one. And then the others would just glue on. Oops, I think it looks better that way. We do not need to put it on upside down. And let's see. Oh, that looks better. Don't be afraid to, move things around to give it the look that you want. And we'll put this one down here. Now, the sentiment that I used is every storm that comes also ends. And sometimes we need to hear that. So I put that there. And I don't want to forget to put my stamp on the inside. So let's just I put the stamp on, and then let me just get my pot here. And that's going to be, should have put the pot on first. Oh my, that's okay. That's the way I wanted it to look. And then what I did was I just glued on, just to, because I had extra ones. And again, it just makes it look like there's lots of flowers. So we'll just let that dry. What I did for this here, I put Wink of Stella on all of the centers of my flowers. And sometimes you really have to, give it a good shake. But sometimes if you want a little bit more, don't be afraid to just give it a little squeeze. Okay, so then you can really get it out on there. That one. And then of course this is the same thing that happened when I did it the first time. So as you can see, I've got lots of Wink of Stella out. Lots of shine. So don't be afraid to put it on thick, because it'll dry. It'll be almost like a dimension. Okay. And then, because I had extra Wink of Stella, I took my, I'm going to take my bone folder here, and I just splattered it around. So you can splatter it some more. Okay. And I also used these matte decorative dots just to put on the sentiment. Add a little bit more yellow. Let's see where we're going to put that. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, so we need one more. And I'll stick it right here. So now you do want to let that dry. And we do need, and if you have more Wink Stella, you could splatter on here as well. So let me just put this on the inside without getting my, and that is our card. So I really like this this lattice work. That is so pretty. But if you don't want to get glue on your fingers, then certainly consider using the double-sided tape. That's not what it's called. It's I'll put it under the description below. Anyway, thank you very much for dropping by. I enjoyed just chatting, and thank you for your kind comments and your subscriptions, and I will see you next week. So bye for now. And here are our both cards finished, and that was a lot of fun.